Hi, everybody. This is Soul Level Astrologer Mark Borax coming to you live from Putney Mountain, Vermont, where the trees are at full color with the Cosmic Weather Report live for Wednesday, October 9th, Year of the Dragon. Also, John Lennon's birthday. Also, his son, Sean Ono Lennon's birthday. And John was born in the Year of the Dragon, too. The Year of the Dragon is a very special year because it's the only mythical animal in the Oriental pantheon, which means there's an X factor to being born in the Year of the Dragon, like John Lennon, and there's an X factor for all of us passing through the Year of the Dragon, meaning you have to really fly beyond the accustomed limits, the conditioned ways of seeing, in order to so your spirit can be set free. This is the Cosmic Weather Report about the new moon eclipse in Libra, which I've titled Raw Seeds and Hopeful Possibilities. October opened with a new moon solar eclipse at 11 Libra on October 2nd. And the Chandra symbol for that degree is tea leaves that form a pentagram. This is about ancient patterns breeding current world events, which means that if you look at things on a soul level and from a cosmic point of view, nothing that's happening right now is completely unexpected, unanticipated, unprepared, and we're witnessing the end result of a lot of patterns, both cosmic and societal, that were set in place long before anybody currently alive now was even born. This does not mean that you have no ability to change the future, because that old paradox where people ask themselves, well, which is it? Is there free will or is it all predestination? The answer is yes. It's not an either or. There's both free will and predestination. And that paradox itself is really what I base the whole system of soul level astrology on, because when I'm looking at the birth chart, I'm actually looking through the birth chart as a window to the soul, including where your soul has been in previous lives. And from that viewpoint, we're currently witnessing um, the culmination of ancient patterns that are also susceptible to change and transformation. But there's a big caveat, which is we have to change them. And until the roots of the old patterns are exposed, the change doesn't usually go deep enough. It's like pulling up dandelion leaves if you're trying to protect your lawn, which is a questionable thing in the first place. But if you really want to get rid of dandelions, you can't pull up the leaves, because as long as the roots there, they'll grow back. And so it is with ancient patterns. Um, and when ancient patterns persist, such as the pattern of karmic polarization, where one thing or one group of people is set up as bad, and the other is set up as good. One political party, one religion, one gender, one ethnicity, one nationality. That pattern is so old that we were warned against it in the Bible and before the Bible, and back in the times of Buddha. And most of the great religions have built-in warnings that have to do with the golden rule: treat others the way you wish to be treated, do unto others the way you wish you would have others do unto you. But just because we've been warned about that pattern for thousands of years doesn't mean we've actually heeded the warning. And so we're witnessing now around the world kind of the end game, might even be the end game of the human race. I sure hope not. And all of my books and my songs, and my teachings are are an attempt to prevent it from being the end of the human race. But we're witnessing the end game of a very old pattern of this against that. I'm not telling you to stop value judgments. I'm not telling you to stop judging one thing as wrong and another as right, because I vehemently disagree with that. I would never say that. It's just that when caught in hyperpolarized thinking, we're replicating the ancient pattern rather than transforming it. And the problem with that is that weapons and media and anti-life forces, some might say demonic forces. Actually, let me get rid of that banner. I realized the Cosmic Weather Report isn't starting soon. The Cosmic Weather Report has already started soon. But with the current standards of annihilating capacities we have now all around the planet, this ancient hyperpolarization is deadlier than ever. And my astrology writing and music are all devoted to transforming those patterns at the root, either on an individual basis with one-to-one sessions or talking about collective consciousness. And in order to transform those patterns at the root, especially during this new moon cycle of raw seeds and hopeful possibilities, we have to get in touch with the source of what makes you you, what makes you alive. The reason your soul returned from spirit for another round of incarnation. It's not to work off bad karma from another life. It's not to perfect yourself so you don't have to come back anymore. It's to fully blossom your creative seed, what makes you most you, your life art. And in order to blossom, that seed needs to be watered and sunned and cared for, which means that we're all being summoned to dig down to get to the core of what makes us most alive, most real, most authentic, most embodied. Because I see the purpose of reincarnation not to perfect yourself so you don't have to come back, but to get in, all the way in, as the magical and real, unique being that you are. I think that's why we keep coming back. So between the stuckness of the old deadly patterns and the possibility of the new, the Libra balance scales are tipping back and forth toward the full moon that's coming on October 17th in 25 degrees Aries, which is a great dragon asleep in a cave. And I find this to be one of those synchronicities that's interesting. Here we have the year of the dragon, and we're approaching the tail end of the year, October, November, December, January. That's the last half of the year of the dragon. And we're having a full moon whose Chandra symbol is a great dragon asleep in the cave. I see that great dragon who's asleep as the immense capacity of human beings, the immense capacity for awakening, for enlightenment, for love, for understanding, for compassion, for full blossoming. That potential has been like a tremendous dragon asleep in a cave, because underneath the cave of ego, underneath societal conditioning, underneath the demented and psychotic rulership of modern politicians, um, is this dragon, the species dragon. Each of us are one cell in the great dragon of humanity that needs to rouse and awaken and spread its wings and fly up out of the cave across the sky in full color. How do you do that? By following your creative mandate, your creative impulse. Okay. I guess we're on Facebook. I'm not seeing any comments coming in yet. So unless we wake up to the love that we're made of and spread that around the world like we began to do in the 1960s, the anti-life forces will complete their current takeover in media, mainstream media, to a lesser extent in social media. A lot of people put down social media because there's so much bullshit there, but it's almost like our last chance, because even though there's still so much crap, bullshit, misinformation, and intelligence agencies, spy networks, censoring social media, it's also one of the final platforms where individuals can speak to the whole world without being censored. And I'm kind of amazed that the fascist anti-life forces of the intelligence agencies and parts of the government even still allow us to do that. Which I feel you might as well use it while you still can, because mainstream media is totally fucked, way more than ever, than any time in U.S. history. The MSNBC, Fox News, CBS, NBC, it doesn't matter, left, right, Democrat, Republican, all mainstream news outlets have been completely co-opted by their corporate owners. And once in a while, something resembling actual, authentic truth makes it through those filters, but it's very rare, extremely rare. And it doesn't matter whether you're Democrat or Republican or independent. And so there has to be another method for spreading the news of change. In the 1960s, we used music, because music spreads the energy and the feel and words of change instantaneously. But the news back then in the 1960s had not yet totally gotten co-opted and overrun. You could still have mainstream newscasters like Walter Cronkite, for example, or Dan Rather, actually telling truths that were unwanted by their corporate owners. No more. It's not that way. So you really have to tune into the pulse of the soul, social media, little tribal groups, emails, little networks where the possibility of something new happening and changing the old patterns is still there. So, because each of us have a say, however minute, in what's going to happen next. And I strongly feel that everyone who's alive now, that your soul agreed to be alive at the changing of the guard, the changing of the ages. You have a say, however small it might seem, in what happens next. which basically comes down to a real binary choice between fear and love. And at any moment, regardless of how bad or how good things are getting, you have the choice to choose love rather than fear. Fear is the great muzzler. Fear prevents dissent. Fear prevents love. Fear prevents compassion and understanding. Fear locks people into ancient blood feuds like the Hatfields and McCoys. And during this Libra new moon, we're really being asked to tip the balance scale away from fear and towards love. Um, it feels like there's a moment right now where if enough people can wake up and see through the nightmare, hurt, delusion, um, the the strange alienation of our time, where um, almost nobody with an open mind feels comfortable right now. It feels like um, current comfort comes from closed minds who shut out so much truth that's happening, regardless of what side of the political spectrum you're on. I know my fellow liberal friends all around the world uh, like to put down and judge the Republicans and the conservatives and the right wing uh, as being hopelessly behind the times and bigots. And to a certain extent, I agree. Uh, but I also know that the Democrats, the left, the liberals have their own delusions. Um, and I'm not sure which are worse, to tell you the truth, the delusions of the left or the delusions of the right. I'm somewhere in the middle of those two, though all my life I've identified with being a liberal, though now um, I find liberal to be a dirty word almost. I'm a radical. I don't want to. Modern Democrats are way further to the right than Republicans used to be when I was growing up. And so something other than the two party system, something other than you're wrong and I'm right, something other than fearing anybody who's different has to get injected into the soul of the species to awaken the dragon. Now, I don't think there's any comments going. Um, Let me say that we're starting to recruit students for our next 3-year chart study program. I'm the head of the College of Visionaries and Wizards. Uh, One of the main programs we have in the college is I teach people around the world how to read birth charts by the soul. And I teach them this by teaching you how to live by the soul. And so once a week on Wednesdays, we meet for 2 hours online. And each summer, you have the option to sit with us at our home in Vermont. And there's 2 semesters a year, 6 semesters in all. And the current group of students is in the midst of level 5, and they only have one more semester. They graduate this June, and next September, we launch a new 3-year program. We only launch a chart study program every 3 years. So if you're interested in finding out more about that, you can go to markborax.com. I'm still offering a discount, not as steep a discount as I was offering previously. To celebrate my 40th year in astrology, my 1 hour readings have dropped significantly in price. You can find out about that at markborax.com. And my book is still for sale out there. All my 3 books are out there. The current one The Ruby Heart of the Dragon, Sun Signs for Our Times. I tear down the zodiac and build it back up again from the soul. It's getting a lot of good reviews, powerful narrative in that book, including pieces of my life. My first book, 2012, Crossing the Bridge to the Future, which is not an astrology book, but a mystical memoir of my 7-year apprenticeship to a wizard in the redwood trees in the Santa Cruz Mountains of Northern California. That's for sale. The second book, Cosmic Weather Report, Guidance for Radically Changing Times, that I co-wrote with L.A.'s Lonsdale. That's for sale. I have hundreds of podcasts around, and this month I'm the guest astrologer for Astrology Hub. You can find me there teaching people, and still writing songs, playing music, doing readings, hiking the mountain in the midst of my season, autumn. I was born October 2nd. I turned 70 just a few days ago, and still here doing my thing, waking myself up in ways that can wake up others. And thanks for joining me. In 2 weeks, I think I'm going to start a new series, fourth Wednesdays of the month. I'm going to be doing mini readings, mini chart readings for people who join in the system and submit their charts. And then in another month, I'll do Cosmic Weather Report live in November. Happy birthday, John Lennon, a dragon who flew very far. And thank you all for joining us, and see you next time. Let's see. Why isn't my background music playing? Background.